If you are a reader of the scripture, you've probably read the story about Nathan the prophet who came to King David to confront him because of this terrible thing that David had done concerning this woman Bathsheba and her husband Uriah the Hittite that David sent into battle and told Joab to withdraw the forces and had him killed. He executed that man. But yet God said that he's a man after my own heart. But you see, David thought that he could cover this thing up and that we'll just kind of clean this thing up and nobody will know. And then Nathan the prophet came, told him this story. You remember the story, I'm sure, about a man who had a little lamb. And he loved that little lamb. It was the only one he had. He was poor. He'd made a pet out of that little lamb. And he'd hold him up on his chest, and he would just love on him. And that little, you could just see it in your mind, can't you? That little lamb, he's just eating this up. And then next door to this man was a very wealthy man. And he had flocks of sheep. And he had a friend who was coming to visit. And so he wanted to prepare a nice meal for the friend that was coming, so he needed a lamb for the main course. Well, instead of going out there in his flocks where he had all kinds of lambs to choose from, he goes over to this poor man's house and takes that little precious pet and slays it and feeds it to his friend. Well, when Nathan the prophet told that story to King David was enraged. I mean, he was mad. He was upset. He says, Nathan, go get that man and we'll have him killed. And can't you just see it? Nathan the prophet poked his finger in David's face and said, you are the man. Because he had stolen another man's wife. David had wives. He had wives, he had children, he had riches beyond imagination. But he stole another man's wife. And like I said, he tried to cover it up. But the problem with these things is that God sees it all. And he said, that's what the words of Nathan the prophet were. He says, that which you have done in private, I will reveal it before the whole nation. And when Absalom, his son, rebelled against him, they had left 10 concubines there to tend to the palace while David was fleeing for his life. And Absalom came and set up a tent up on the top of the house where everybody could know what's going on. And he defiled every one of those wives of King David. See, God understands that there's a price to be paid. And you think you covered it up? You might want to think again. It's Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.